We're going. Okay. Good to see you again since last meeting.
Yeah, nice to meet you again.
Absolutely. I appreciate you making some time for me today.
Yeah, absolutely. If you wouldn't mind, I just have a few more questions for you about why your glycol is better than a lot of other products out on the market right now.
Absolutely.
So what has led you to looking for a revised version of your glycol?
Well, honestly, there's quite a few factors about it. One of the main ones being that the version we use now it just seems slightly outdated. And if you're offering a product that is going to be superior to what we use now, that truly can be something that our company could utilize to better our operations in many different ways.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That's exactly what we're looking for.
That's great. What aspects of the glycol can I anticipate? Are there any negatives to it?
I would say there's really no negatives to it. It's going to cut down on essentially everything from cost to time. When it being used on the aircrafts. The only negatives I could really come up with is instead of you just using a universal mixture, from your supplier you use now, we're going to actually have stations where you have to mix it to the proper air temperature. So maybe on the downtime of in between the operation, you'll have employees needing to mix the fluid the proper specs. But other than that, other than dialing it in, that's essentially where we're at on the product.
I see. That's great. Now I understand that you have strict qualifications for what the level of fluid that you can use. Can you elaborate on what qualifies your de-icing fluid again?
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially what we need a fluid that is at a proper ethanol, or in your case, a water-based mixture, to be used on the aircrafts cut with the glycol itself. So if there's too much water or too much ethanol, it's going to make it useless. It's probably honestly going to make things worse because you're trying to cut through ice and snow. And that's what the whole purpose of the company is to clean the aircraft off so that it can be aerodynamic. So essentially, the qualifications, if they're not there, if our standards are not set, we're just going to have fluid that's patchy, and we can't afford to, put people's lives in danger.
Absolutely,
and all the equipment as well.
For sure, that's great. What impact does this superior glycol have on the company?
Well, again, like I said earlier, I mean, that really comes in on multiple different levels, from like the actual amount of labor hours in amount of time it takes to use it. I think at our proper blends that we want to use, our glycol version actually offers a faster de-ice time where it cuts through the ice and snow quicker because it's dialed in for the weather. So there might be extra glycol to water ratio, or there might be less depending on the weather. The colder it is, the more that the product will be cut with glycol to ensure that it's actually going to be cutting through it quicker, as opposed to a generic mix where it could be effective, but maybe not as effective. Also, in the cost department, if you're blending for air, air temperatures, you're really going to save on your labor cost and your materials cost as well, because you're not overusing. You're using exactly what you need.
Yep, I see, for sure. Where exactly do you think this product will take my company?
Honestly, I think if you guys are trying to get to the next level, this is the product you guys are looking for. This is essentially, like I said, it's going to save you money. It's going to make you more by standing out from the competition who all use generic blends. And essentially, it's just going to be the state-of-the-art product. I think this company needs to really get off the ground more.
That sounds amazing. How vital is the glycol your company uses, and what negative aspects would take place if the glycol proved to be inefficient?
If the glycol proved to be inefficient, the whole de-icing scenario would be botched essentially, and we would essentially have a failed de-ice, which could result again in danger with people's lives and aircraft equipment. Because what we do is we basically sell safety to people is what we're looking for. When we perform what we do out here, we get basically safety insured to the people that are on the aircraft, and the aircraft can perform the way it needs to, because ice can impair the operation of the aircraft's equipment. So if the glycol is inefficient, it's not going to work right, and our job is essentially useless. So that's why we need to make sure our product is dead on every single time.
I see. Yep, that sounds very important. And what aspects can your product make our operation better?
Essentially, like I said, in every way, shape, and form, from cost to time to the actual
To
service
quality.
to the quality of the service being provided. Everything's going to be better on pretty much everything across the spectrum. I really don't think there's going to be any negative downsides other than the fact that you have to switch carriers from, I believe it's Menzies who you guys supply through right now, from the research I've done. Switching carriers, other than the hassle of doing that, I think essentially everything else is going to come together, and you guys are going to benefit tenfold.
That's great. A lot of knowledge of the product. I can demonstrate, or let's see.
Yes, sir.
Let's see. I have a couple more questions for you. How does the product actually compare to the glycol that IDS currently uses right now? And is it really that superior or better in any ways?
It compares in the same form that they're both glycol products. As far as the superiority, it's everything essentially because they use, you guys are using ethanol mixed with a generic blend of glycol. So, on an environmental impact aspect, water-based is obviously going to be way cleaner. Ethanol is terrible for the environment, kills plant life and animals.
I have heard that.
And on top of that, if you're using to the proper mixture and blend with water, which performs in the exact same way, you are going to have, less of a cost factor for the amount of glycol you're using. So your materials costs are going to be down.
I see. Gotcha. That's great. Well, I'm not sure if the time is good or bad to potentially pick up a new glycol service provider as the season is getting ready to kick off. What do you think about that?
Honestly, I think right now is the best time to do it.
Really?
With the season on the brink of starting, even if it was on a low-level experimental level where you guys maintained your Menzies contract with your fluid, but you guys wanted to maybe sample some of the product we're offering,
A little test drive.
that would be great because the season it's not in the middle of the season or the end. We're right at the brink at the beginning. You guys could be potentially having a season, one of the best seasons you guys have ever had if you were to switch to our product due to all of the benefits in testing we've put into it. So if you guys wanted to get into the product, right now is the time. It's the best time, better than ever.
That's great.
Because in the off season, I could sit here and tell you, there's all these aspects of this product that are better. But how are you going to know until the weather is actually cold like it is starting to be now and be able to use it firsthand and see? So I think right now is the time to basically invest and get on board better than any time of the year. Where you can really see right off the bat how the product's going to handle for the rest of the season. So
no, that's great. I love it. Let's do it.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
I'm
I
on board.
look forward to seeing what we can figure out about it. And the next time we meet up, okay?
Let's do it. Let's get this operation better. Make some money, baby.
Absolutely, I love it. Thank you for your time today, Brad. And I look forward to speaking with you again here soon. Okay.
Absolutely, sir.